We're gonna road now.
Yes, we are live. We are live. Okay, so let me start recording. Yeah. Okay, another episode of the Things I Wish I Knew About Money. I'm your host, Camille Smith.
I'm your co-host, your boy Dre.
Yes. People can't see you, Dre. People can't see you. They want to see you. Hey, welcome, welcome.
Welcome, welcome. What a
So,
guan, what a guan. I'm here in the
uh,
building.
you hear me? Before we start anything, I want to big up Jamaica for making that sweep. Jeez, for the 100
Big up
meter.
yourself, Young. Big up yourself. All the people in from yard. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And,
Boy,
we dominate the 100.
right? Like,
Big up to the girls. That was well done. Job well done. Girls
listen,
always represent us well. All well, both girls and the guys, all the track stars.
I know, and I missed it. I was so sad because, like, usually I watch Olympics just for track and field,
Yeah, yeah, same.
but
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
missed
get
it
a
too because
chance.
I've been driving all morning.
Oh man, look at you! And I'm out of freedom, even though it's cold. As you can see, I'm wearing a hoodie, which is ridiculous
Yeah,
because it's summer,
true.
but I'm
Yeah, I
out
know.
of
I think by the hell
quarantine.
it's so cold. Yeah,
It is. It is.
doesn't make any sense. So, how's your weekend going so far, though? It's a long weekend.
Oh my gosh, it is. Well, I celebrated a little of freedom. So I'm
Nice.
still what's the word? I'm still replenishing my soul or my body with fluids, with water, because the H2O is the way to go.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. When I grow up, I want to be just like you. I feel like I'm replenishing my body, but with things that are not good.
Don't, because it was not a good story this morning, but I mean, hey, I survived. You live and you learn, right?
Yeah, true. True.
Oh
Good stuff. Yeah, my weekend is
yeah,
yeah, I
how's
don't
your
know. Like,
weekend?
I'm just mostly going with the flow. Like Nathan and I went and we got a haircut earlier.
Hey, fresh
And,
cut, fresh cut.
first cut, I know, like, I'm super proud of him because I know his first haircut, like, he was a bit fussy, and
Hmm.
this one was really good. I don't know if it's because I went first and I got my haircut first, and he saw it, and yeah, when it was his turn, he sat down and he was just like, haircut daddy, and
Yeah.
never cried, nothing. It was really good. So actually super excited for that, and he's just growing, like ton big man coming. But yeah,
Watch ya, watch ya.
I
But
know, I
that
know.
is actually really dope. That is really dope. Um, and what did you give him after? I think you gave him like some fries.
Yeah, he wanted fries. Like he specifically asked for fries. I told him that we're gonna celebrate and he can have whatever he wants.
Yeah.
And yeah, like he said, fries. He wants fries, and we
Nice.
went and we got fries, and we kept celebrating. And I brought him to his aunt, and she gave him some stuff as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely it was good.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, man, yeah,
that's
man.
sweet. That's sweet.
Um,
Yes.
so yeah, as I said, I'm out in the boonies, like probably about 7 hours out of town and thing. But
Jeez.
I love them adventure thing. There's some random road trip and drive and hike and
Mm.
wildlife and adventure. I kind of live for that stuff.
I might have to do that soon. I might have to do that soon. Like I said, that break that I had, it was lovely.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to do that every month just to get away.
Seriously. Like,
Like,
yeah, it it helps
yeah, just to refresh and stuff. But when it's like warm, but we'll see.
when it's warm. Yeah. I
And
mean, it's I probably wouldn't do it like this much driving in the cold because honestly, I don't know when a
oh
snowstorm.
no,
Mm,
I'm okay with hibernating during the winter. I
same.
mean,
Yeah.
during the summer, you just want to have like a little a nice drive, a nice music while you're going, and like a nice cap or something while you're
Exactly.
cruising.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I completely agree. And yeah, like I don't know, like it makes a big difference. Like just take your mind
Yes,
off stuff and just clear your head and like but it also like can probably give you like
different perspective.
like I see opportunities within it because like I'm the type of person who's always looking for opportunity. And as I'm like driving out of town, I probably see a business or maybe something, a residential area or whatever. And I'm like, yo, that's actually pretty cool. Like that's a good idea. And I kind of
Actually,
just put it in that think tank and I'm like, yo,
yeah.
I'm gonna keep this idea.
Actually, that is really, really true. Because when I was on my break, I was also thinking of different type of income stream
Yeah,
to get like rental or like Airbnb, and I'm like every time I go away or like on break, I just think of
yeah,
different ways to make more money. And
yeah.
it's funny that I you said that because that's what we're talking. That's
What am
what
I
we're
gonna talk
talking
about?
about today. We're talking about different streams of income, and
Yeah,
I know most of y'all might be very excited to hear about this because you're always thinking like, oh, isn't there just one way of making money?
yeah, yeah.
New,
And
new,
maybe
new.
we'll just go through another conversation. But first off, I want to big up Black North Initiative. So I'm not
Hey,
working with them or anything, but I just love the work that the Black North is doing and the team. And as you can
yes,
see, I'm in the hoodie, the Black North Initiative. If you're not familiar with it, go check them out. They're doing incredible work in the community. So big up to the entire team at the Black North.
there. That
um,
hoodie does look
yeah, like
really nice.
we're also gonna talk about multiple streams and things. So actually, before we jump into that, can I talk about
Yeah, by all
a
means.
conversation I had with Michael Leachin and
Mm,
how like he talked about his wealth creation principles and whatnot. And so from
yeah.
that conversation, I went and I kind of built my own framework. I mean, I started. It's not perfected it or anything, but I came up with this formula that I call the Smith's wealth creation formula. Um,
I get
so
excited when they say the Smith because that's
I
my
know
last name.
like we're both Smiths and whatever. So it's like oh formula and thing. But then I was kind of thinking about it and I was like, like how do you get to from like one place to the other or how do you build wealth, right? And I feel like
Yeah.
everybody has their own perception or definition of what wealth is. But I kind of looked at some of the variables, if you want to call it that. And then I said to myself, if you actually think about it, wealth is a function of knowledge plus
Hmm.
creativity. So that's the first part of the formula. So knowledge plus creativity. So the more you invest in yourself, the more knowledgeable you become, and the
Yes.
more creative you become with that knowledge. If you apply that to your savings and investment strategies
Mhm.
compounded over a period of time, then you're able to generate that type of wealth that we're talking
Yeah.
about. So that's my
So
formula.
hold
And
on, hold
so
on. I need you to say it again because I'm actually writing it down just so I can like hit it with the people after, right?
yeah, yeah, sure. So wealth, all right, is a function of knowledge and creativity. So it really starts with investing in yourself. So the more
Mm,
knowledgeable you are about personal finance and just everything in general, as much as possible,
yeah.
the more knowledge you gain and you apply creativity to that. And we're going to talk about some of the examples in how we can be creative in terms of building multiple streams once we start that discussion. So knowledge plus creativity
Hmm.
multiplied by or if you want to say, apply to
Yeah.
your savings and your investment strategy. So the more you do that, compounded over a period of time. So time is the most important variable when it comes to wealth creation. In any formula that you look at, majority of the time it's compounded by time when you think
Yes.
about investment. So over a period of time, by doing the same things and making better decisions, you're going to get, or you're going to maximize that return. So that's what my formula is saying. You take knowledge, you take creativity, apply it to your savings and investment strategy, and over a period of time, you're going to generate significant returns.
I love it. I love it. Ooh, I definitely wrote it down because I hope everyone's writing it down as well, because that's actually that's some nuggets, man. That's some nuggets. Like I keep saying, that's all we do around here, right?
Nuggets.
And I'm glad you had that conversation with him, because even the book that I'm reading, and it's funny you say it because obviously you're just using a formula that you've heard before, but made your own twist. And that's what the book
Right.
says. Money Mastering the Game. I probably just said it wrong, but you guys know from Tony Robinson or Tony Robbins. So he basically says, in order to become like the millionaires or like the 1%, whatever, just follow what they did.
Yeah.
It's not
Essentially.
rocket science. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
if we just follow the systems that they've done, then it there's a greater chance that it will work for us as well, right?
Exactly.
So, folks, we're giving you the guidelines. So just listen.
We're giving the guidelines. And no, you're absolutely right. And I think when people think about like building generational wealth or doing certain things,
Yeah.
you think it's really hard. It is hard in the sense that it requires a lot of time and effort. And I'm going to put out a saying out there that Jamaicans love to say, and I feel like I've been saying this more often these days, but Jamaicans will say the higher the monkey climb, the more him body exposed. I don't know if people are familiar with that saying. Anyways, the more you go progress in life, the more you become to criticisms and all of these things. So
Yeah.
essentially, that's what that is saying, right? And I feel like it is so true. But honestly, like I found this quote the other day, and it says sucks so I believe something like on the lines of success is on the other side of hard. And it's so true. Like like you really have to work hard. But even within working hard, you can work smart.
Smart.
And I remember
Mhm.
Westall saying something that, and not only him, I've heard it from other successful people, that you have to become an opportunist. And sometimes people think entrepreneurs or certain people, they're just better decision makers. Um, Oftentimes we're not. It's just that when we see an opportunity, we
Yeah.
go with it, and we don't have all the answers. We don't know the outcome. We just know that it's a great opportunity on the surface, and we're like, you know what? It's not gonna stick around. We're gonna go on board,
Yeah.
and we're gonna talk about the different streams right now and how some of the different ways in which you can build multiple income streams. Camille, feel free to share your story. I'll share my story. Because my story is one such that I literally turned around my fortunes 4 years ago. I mean, this year is going to make 5 years, but I've
Yeah.
literally seen significant changes in terms of like, my overall decision making and the trajectory, the direction in which my generational wealth is going. Only because I've changed my mindset and I've started doing certain things differently.
Mhm. I think I'm gonna start off with helping individuals know what the different streams of income are. I think I feel like we've talked about it before, but we haven't
Yeah.
gone into depth about it. So let me go to my trusty search, because I love to search for everything. And
Yeah.
so here's the thing. Most millionaires have most of these. So I'm going to say there's 7, but sometimes people say there's 8. Actually, let me do it in a way where it's easy for people to understand. So I'm going to say what they are one by one, and then I'm going to say whether they're active income or passive income, because those two things are very important.
Right.
So the first one is earned income. Most of us get money from where we earn, like from a job. So Andre works at a job. I used to work at a job, but now I'm an entrepreneur. So it's different. So 1, earn income. Number 2, profit income. Income that you make from buying and selling. So you see how people love, like back in the day, I used to see people like buy a phone or buy a TV or whatsoever, and then sell it for a higher price. So buy low, sell high.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
that type of thing. So that's a profit. And that can be stocks as well. And then we have interest income, where you get income from lending money. And if no one really understands that, that's where the banks come into play most of the time. They be making money that way, right? Then we have residual income, where you can continue to get paid after the work is done. And I think the best example is, I wanted to call it royalties, but it's not, because there's a different way. But if you make like an ebook, or if you have a book like Andre, an author.
Yeah. So I was
That's
actually just going to ask if it's the same as royalty income, but it seems they're saying they're the same, or are they different?
I feel like it's the same, because I'm looking at one that says 8, but I normally hear 7. So you know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna do the 7. And residual income is the same thing as royalty income in my eyes. So there's not 8. There's 7. Okay, guys. Dividend income from owning stocks. So that's where I love dividend stocks. Like, I think that's been my I was gonna lie. I was gonna say my goal this year has been stocking up on dividend stocks, but I got interested with options. So so there's dividend stocks, there's rental income. So big up everyone that has investment properties.
Big up.
Yes, that's you can make income from renting a home or a room, or what is the other word? Subletting? Yeah. So those are different ways. Yeah, that you can get income. There's capital gains. So this is when assets increase in value. So like, say you got a house, you got the house for $100,000. I know, in our dreams. And then like 3 years from now, it becomes like 500,000. That is capital gains of 400,000. Well,
Yeah.
I know that's a big number, guys, but hey, I'm just trying to show you what it's like.
For example, we feel you.
And so I'm going to say the ones I have, because also earned income can be a job or a business in my eyes, because you're still actively at that business trying to make money, right? So now that I have that, I'm going to tell you guys that active income and passive income. So the ones that are active, so active income is when you personally have to put the hours in, like
to treat time, for the money.
Yeah, time, money, boom. So that's the salary, hourly work, so earned income, business income, gig income, commission income, or side hustles. A lot of people love to say side hustles these days. So those are the type of ways to get active income. I personally like the passive income, right? So that's the dividends, the real estate, the interest income, peer lending, or there's even real estate crowdfunding. Those are some examples that
Wow, lots of examples, eh? So people can't say them not have enough examples. There's a ton of examples that you're giving out, so that's pretty good.
I try to provide for the folks, right?
Yeah.
So the ones I feel like I have from the 7 income streams is earned income. I wish I could do the interest income, but no one ever pays me when I lend them money. I'm joking. Dividends, income, and once in a while, capital gains. So I'm trying to get on Andre's level with like royalty income. Eventually. I I honor you that you like, went outside your comfort zone and decide to make a book and everything. Or not even if it's a book, you can just do any digital.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any type of intellectual, or even a business, because if you build a successful brand and people want to franchise it, they would have to pay a royalty.
Yes, franchise. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's an idea. And what about you, Andre? What do you say? How do you like these income streams that I mentioned?
You know what it is like? I like to give context, and maybe it probably can call me a storyteller. I'm trying to become a good storyteller like Michael Lee Chin, but I remember, like when I think about like income security, I think about income security in the sense of finding a good job, like a union position. And I think that's what I knew about it, that if you have a union job, that's income security, right? That's just one stream of income. And later on in life, I realized that it doesn't matter whether it's union or non-union. Having one stream of income is really risky, right? That's 100% risk. Should if anything happens to you or you lost a job or whatever, you lose that income. And like diversity didn't become a part of my thinking until I took corporate finance in York University. This was like probably like my 4th year of university, and that's when diversification became something that it became something that I really love. And then I started like looking at diversity in the context of personal finance and what it means. And from there, I just started thinking about different income streams. So to answer the short answer to the question is that I'm proud to say that I've earned from all 7 streams. I mean, whether or not it's significant is another topic for discussion.
Hold up. That deserves because you are just past 30. I'm not gonna call you out. And for you to be able to succeed and get all the streams of income, kudos to you, sir.
Respect. Big up myself. And I'll share my journey because I like for people to like know like kind of like the how. I feel like a lot of times, we have the why we do it and the what, but a lot of times for people is the how that's missing. And I'll kind of share my journey. I think, the first part of my journey started with getting a higher paying job. And, fortunately for me, I was able to get a higher paying job. Not a lot of people are able to get a higher paying job. And even if you're not, you can look at your current situation to see how you can make things work, right? So again, remember my formula. I said I started with knowledge, and I started to learn a lot of things about personal finance from other people and from my own independent research. And so I started earning higher income, but I kept my expenses low. In fact, my expenses got lower because I cut them short. And I got myself out of debt.
Nice.
And then from there, I started learning about like stocks, and I started investing in stocks, and I started making money from there. And so from that, I was earning 2 types of income: capital gain and dividend. And I kept that and kept watching that grow, and I made a ton of money from investing. And then again, going back to that premise of that beautiful term that I learned in corporate finance about diversification, I started to think about additional ways that I can diversify my income stream. And so then I wrote a book, right? Because I wanted to create passive streams of income. And I said, okay, if I write a book, and I actually learned this through research. I mean, that wasn't the driving force behind why I wrote the book, but
Yeah.
it started to bring in that passive income. And every month or so, I see I get a little payout from Amazon for book sales, right? So that's that passive type of income that Camille spoke of. And then from there, again, I kept thinking, okay, I've built up a certain cash base. Um, Here's where the creativity comes in. And I want to say to people that creativity starts with having an open mind about where opportunities are, right? And, this came from like even a conversation I had with Michael Leachin. And I think, Camille said this, like looking at the existing framework of successful people. And he said a lot of people underestimate the potential of the Caribbean, for example, because they think wealth creation can only happen in North America. And you're talking about somebody who is a billionaire in US dollar. And a lot of that wealth was generated in the Caribbean. And so when I think about that in the context of my formula and creativity, and I thought about ways, like even real estate. And I've studied some of the economies in the Caribbean, and you look at Jamaica and other Caribbean countries, for example, that you realize that over the past few years that they've been going through a construction boom, whether that be real estate or building bridges, etc. And then there's also a tourism boom within these areas. That combined with like Airbnb and all of these things. And then I said, okay, wonder if I can use my situation in Canada, which is pretty decent, good credit, good income, everything, and try to qualify for mortgages in other countries. And I start with that question. I found my question. I like to frame questions like what if, or and then from there I kind of work out the details. And so when I think about all of these things, it sounds complicated, but it's really like I said, having an open mind. And I said, you know what, I'm going to venture into the Jamaican market to see if I can have multiple Airbnb there to bring in multiple streams of income. But also I could leverage the potential. And so for me, I like to use the word leverage. I used to say use. I like to say use, but I don't use the word use anymore. I feel like leverage is sophisticated, but it also captures the intricacies of your financial competence. And so I like to use the word leverage. So you probably hear me use leverage more than use. But I said, okay, if I can have 5 properties in Jamaica as an example, that's bringing in 5,000 US net profit per month. Let's say 5,000 US per month. How can I know? And I frame another question from that reality that I've created. How can I use this net profit of 5,000 to achieve other goals that I may have in Canada or the US, right? So perhaps my current income reality in Canada doesn't allow me to afford certain things. But if I can create a reality elsewhere, because tourism boom, construction boom, and you realize that you can literally use Airbnb to generate cash flow. And from there, you can use cash flow to do other things, right? And so that's how I've literally think about when it comes to my personal portfolio, that's how I think about it. I think about all the realities and the possibilities, but it all centers around one key thing. I mean, there are a few, but I said 2 key things: knowledge and access, knowing the right people, right? So if you really and truly want to do certain things and achieve certain things, you have to invest in the knowledge and invest in building the right connections, right? And so that's just me giving context to what Camille just said about the different income streams.
I love what you just said, that finding the knowledge and access. So what type of access do you mean, in a sense? Because maybe some people won't know, right?
Right. I mean, you'll have different types. So for example, I was able to, again, leverage my connections to build a team of people that I can work with in Jamaica. So for example, I have an extremely amazing mortgage broker. She's like top notch, number one. I have a really good lawyer. I've created access to survey and all of these people. I've built connections within like National Housing Trust, the different financial institution, people that I
Yes.
can say, I have this technical question, how can you guide me through the process? Right. So I've
Yes.
created those accesses. In terms of my book, the same thing. I have like two editors, two really intelligent women, and they are the one who
Mm-hmm.
actually made my book a big part of why my book is what it is today. So those are the types of access. So like for me, I whenever I look for somebody to do work for me, I could have
Mm-hmm.
easily gone, hey, here's the money, or edit my book. But for me, I'm really big on building relationships. So I always take the conversation a little bit further to get to know
Yeah.
that person, to see how we can both support each other going forward and try to build a mutually beneficial relationship. So, I mean, a big part of it is like creating those access. I mean, some people have access that is at a greater magnitude, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you have to start somewhere and kind of work your way up. A key part of that access is going to be
Yes. Yes.
relationship building, connecting with the right people.
Yes. So I love how you said that you have a team of people that that's able to help you get through this, because as a business you have to have the right people on your team to be able to
Absolutely.
succeed. And I love how you said that it's not only like what you need, but you also want to provide something as well. And I think that's a
Right.
it's like a give or take. If
Absolutely.
you notice that there's some people that will push people out the way just to get to finish, like, or to the
Yeah,
top, like, you it gets lonely at the top. But if you
it
actually like
does.
get like build together with others, it's so much enjoyable. Right?
Absolutely.
So I'm glad you
Absolutely.
mentioned that. And I
You
think
know,
the key thing
yeah.
I want to remind people is, and it's funny because I had this conversation with someone, like they're like, yo, don't you remember that they were doing this in high school and da 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 da? Why don't you still connect with them and stuff? I'm like, I don't know. I just don't like see it that way. Like,
Yeah.
to, because I don't, at this moment in time, I don't know how I can provide something for them. So I wouldn't want to just take from them without being able to reciprocate the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's very valuable to have certain people that, you don't know everything. I don't know
Yeah.
anything about law
Yeah. Yeah.
or
No, absolutely.
politics.
And like I'll share an experience, and
Hmm.
no, you're
Sorry, I
right.
think I
Like,
ranted. I think I ranted just a little bit, but I
no, no,
love
no,
what you
no,
said.
you're talking facts. Like, the relationship has to be mutually beneficial. Like,
Hmm.
a lot of times I go into situations, I don't necessarily think about how the person can help me or what they can do for me.
Yeah.
I honestly start with getting to know the person and trying to build a relationship. And I think a big part of that is just like being nice all the time. Like, I think if people like know me, they'll realize that probably 80% of the time I'm nice. Unless you catch me in like a really bad time. Like, I'm not perfect, so I'm not necessarily nice 100% of
Ah,
the time. But
no
I think I'm
worries.
respectful like majority of the time. And I
Yeah.
remember one day I was like at the GO station, and I think, so I accidentally got off at the wrong stop,
Oh,
right? And
shucks.
then I think another guy there got off at the wrong stop.
As well.
And
Hmm.
so we both walked up to like where the taxi stand was, and we were trying to get a taxi, and we couldn't get any taxi. For me, I didn't really care because I wasn't rushing to go anywhere. I was going home, but I saw that this guy was obviously rushing like
Yeah.
crazy, and I said, like, you want us to call an Uber because he parked where we were supposed to get off at the earlier stop, and he said
Yeah.
he parked there as well. So I said, I can call an Uber and whatnot, and then we can take it back. And so we took the Uber back. I wasn't gonna take Uber anyways. And when we got there, he said, how much should he give to me? I think the fare was like probably like $20 or something like that. And I said, it's fine. I was gonna pay the $20 anyways. It just so happened that you were here and you got to come on board. And I said, it's
Yeah.
perfectly fine. And he was like, no, 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 no. Like, I want to pay you. I want to pay you. And I said, you don't have to. You really, really don't have to. And anyways, he said, you know what? Like, here's, take my business card. I want to at least buy you coffee. And I said, okay, since it's this, I'll take your business card. I took the business card and
Yeah.
I didn't look at the card until I actually got in my car to sit down. And then I was
Yeah.
looking at the card and then all I saw was like director of, I think it was like compliance in one of the top 5 banks. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, wow. And I mean, when I was thinking about helping this guy, I wasn't thinking about any of that. That's a possibility that I might be connected with somebody of influence or whatever. None of that crossed my mind. I was literally just thinking about in that moment that this person seemed like they were rushing to go somewhere. I have an
Yeah.
Uber app. He didn't, and I called the Uber. So you'll find that you'll build like connections like that, and they come naturally. But it's really about looking out for the interests of the other person, and I mean the other person will, most likely look out for you as well. But the other thing is you want to maintain those connections. I mean, unfortunately, COVID came. Like I maintained that connection for a really long time. COVID came and we have maintained it. I'm gonna try to reconnect with the
Oh,
person,
man.
but that's the
Yeah.
other important part that you want to maintain those connections.
Yes. Especially the ones that, means a lot. And I mean, we have Zoom. We have video call and everything. And just or even just like sending a text and saying like, "Hey, how are you doing? I just thought about you." That
Yeah.
actually goes a long way. You would be
Yep.
surprised. Like, I know no one does.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I was gonna be silly and say no one does that to me, but that's a lie. I was just joking. It's a joke. It's a joke. I was just being foolish. Um. Oh no, I lost my train of thought. So you have all 7 streams.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I can list. I can go into more details about them if you want. I think you
yeah.
mentioned the book.
Yes.
Um, yes, I've been able to get the royalty from the book. I get dividend from investing in the stocks. There's a capital gain, so
Hmm.
from appreciation of the different properties that I have.
Yes.
There is a rental income from Airbnb and
Sorry. I get so happy
big
for
up
you.
myself.
I'm so happy
Earn
for you.
income, so I still maintain my day job, and then I have profit from my business and stuff and whatnot. What else is there? I can't even remember the rest. But honestly, like it feels so good because I'll tell you this, like one of the challenges that I've had, it doesn't matter how much you have, cash flow is really important. And I feel like at every step of the journey, I'm learning that. When you're acquiring capital assets, like a property, like it really puts a dent on your pocket. And honestly, people, whenever you're making big decisions, my biggest recommendation is to make sure you have sufficient cash flow, right? Sufficient cash flow to cover budgeted expenses as well as unexpected expenses that will come up because they will come, but
Yeah.
also to maintain routine expenses beyond that project timeline. So let's say you're planning to acquire this capital asset and you say you're going to renovate it or whatever, or bring it to the state of renting or whatever, that's going to take 2 weeks. You want to make
Hmm.
sure that you have sufficient cash to cover that 2 week period, but you also want to have sufficient cash to cover at least a 6 month to a 1 year period to maintain routine expenses. So cash flow is really, really important. And that's something that, as you're starting to diversify and becoming a better investor and building multiple streams, you want to make sure that you have sufficient cash flow.
And it's a big thing about not only having cash flow, but
Mm-hmm.
let's see it as this. There's a reason why we're stressing the income stream is because think of a table. I'm gonna be very corny. Think of a table with one leg, right?
Yeah.
What happens if that one leg like gets chopped? The whole table is mash up, right?
Yeah,
It
man.
falls in everything, right? But if you
Mm-hmm.
actually have a table that has like 4 legs or 5 legs. So say something happens to one of the corners, it may wobble, but you're still able to sustain yourself. And that's what having income stream is. I think
It's funny when you're describing that. Sorry, my mind just went like straight to Mortal Kombat. You know that guy with, I don't remember his name, but he have like 4 hand and 2 foot, and it's like you can never beat down that guy. Like the more you beat him, the stronger you get, because you mash up 1 hand and him still have 3 left. And it's like, anyways.
right? Oh, I haven't played that in a
I don't
minute.
know.
I haven't played that in a minute. But yeah, like something like that. Like I think the pandemic showed a lot of folks that, yo, a job or some jobs aren't guaranteed, so you have to have something at the back corner just to keep you, no matter what. Like that's what I want to stress about to people, because yes, having and you said it before, a union job where it's you're guaranteed the money, you're guaranteed the salary, that is fine and dandy. But what happens if you lose it and you don't have a savings and stuff, but you have
Nothing.
You have other things, right? So it gives you a peace of mind. Like I have more peace of mind these days because I know I have these income streams coming. And yo, all I gotta say is when I get the others.
You always hear them say, yo, are the best thing sliced bread? Since sliced bread, I tell you, no. This nicer than sliced bread. When in between a paycheck, you're broke and no money, and a different stream of income dropping in your bank account.
What?
Best John Star $50. This $50 can make a world of a difference.
And you know what's a joke?
You know what I mean? Because
sorry. I try to show people to get dividends income, and they're like, "Oh, what's $2 gonna do? Oh, it's gonna get me a coffee and stuff." I'm like, yeah, but imagine when you keep accumulating money into that, and then it goes from $2, $5, 10, 100, to the point where you don't even have to worry about your earnings income.
Exactly. But I think people say shit like that because it's the discipline behind it, and sorry if I
no, it's okay. We curse.
It's a discipline behind it, and it's also it leads to greater things, because when I started my investment journey, and my coworker, like I always go back to him, like I have to thank that guy so much for teaching me about investing in stocks. Big up Morando, if he ever listens to this podcast. But I literally started investing with $90, and he assured me that you can start with anything, any amount. It doesn't have to be a big amount. And I started investing with $90. And my first investment was I don't remember the name. I know it because I got one of my friends to invest in it. But it was one of the big 5 banks, and dividend paying stock. And I held that stock for probably 5 years before I actually sold it. Right. And when you look at how I started with $90 compared to where I'm at now, like I'm not saying I'm like a Michael Leachin or nothing. I'm not like super rich or nothing. I'm still a little youth. I try a thing.
You're getting there.
Put that out there so nobody come to me still. But yeah, like you can see the difference in where I started. But here's the other thing that I want to highlight. So even in building multiple streams, your strategy, one, you need an overall strategy, what you're trying to achieve. And that strategy will become outdated. It will change. It should not be the same. So even though I say, like my long-term goal is to save $100,000, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm gonna take 10 or 20 years to save that 100,000. You need to constantly reevaluate. So if I say, okay, I want to save 100,000 in 10 years, you're not gonna just like keep doing the same thing over and over to get to that. You want to reassess the strategy and say, okay, has anything changed? Is there a better opportunity? Can I achieve this faster? So you want to constantly reassess. And I'll tell you, maybe I'm a little bit, maybe I'm more faster than the average, but I reassess my strategies so frequently. And Camille can tell you, because I feel like there was a point in time when I'm like, oh, yo, stocks is where I'm at. Then there's another time where I'm like, yo, business. Then another time I'm like, no, it's real estate. And yeah, because I'm constantly and again, looking for different opportunities. So yes, you can build passive and active income, but I'm a firm believer in being an active manager of your investments.
Yeah.
Passive is great in the sense that, yes, you build money and investment streams that work for you and it's just there. But that's all it's going to do. It's just going to be there. How do you grow it if you're not actively involved in it? And so that's why I'm more of a firm believer in active investment management. So yes, while I actively manage all my portfolio, I will build passive streams of income. So I wanted to underscore that distinction there.
Nice.
John
Nice.
was there. I think I had a little country trip when I talk, so you know. You see when I talk what you today?
No
Sorry.
worries, no
Yeah,
worries.
anyways.
But I love it. I love it because I love how you talk about like managing your money and watching it grow because God forbid something happen and you can't do the earning one, but like once
Yeah.
again we still have other avenues for the other money to grow. Especially when you
Yeah.
have the rental, the stocks. And I think we're going to talk about a story like how our stocks have been doing as of late and also different platforms that you can to go on. I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a
and adding people because I don't know about you, but I don't have all of the different bank accounts. No, sir. There's some I hate and some I like.
I don't have like 3.
Three. Yeah, I have a good amount. Yeah, I actually have a good amount. I might have to simmer it down or lower it and stuff. But yes,
I mean, if they
folks.
work for you, they work for you.
I mean, yeah, sometimes. But then sometimes I want to transfer money and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm going here, going there. It's a mess. But
Too
yeah,
much. Yeah.
it's too much. It's too much. But ladies and gentlemen, we just want to stress about income streams. You may have your number one income stream, but how are you
Right.
going to help that money that you have grow? Are you going to do, ooh, have you done peer-to-peer lending before?
No, no.
Neither have
I've heard
I.
about it,
Yeah,
but
I really want to do it. But I don't know about you. I haven't lent money out in a good while, or even if I do, I don't get interest. So I feel
yeah.
like Bank of Camille is not the best bank to get
I
interest
know.
income.
But it's
So
hard to, when you, especially when you're lending friends, like, because I loan friends money. Like before, there was a point in time when I used to lend just almost anybody, and I got burnt that way. And so from that point forward, I had made a decision that I'm not lending anybody. And I literally only have like 4 people now that I would lend
mhm,
money to. Outside of that, nobody else. Yeah.
yeah, it has to be
But
like
I
for
don't
me.
charge them interest, so I feel you. They don't charge them interest on that. Hmm?
I don't. I feel I won't with friends, but maybe if there is a peer-to-peer company where you can actually get interest. I know someone's done it, so I'm gonna do some research. I'm gonna get back to y'all. Maybe that's gonna be my next stream of income, right?
Yeah.
But
But I want to tell you, so we've thought about ways in which we can give low interest loan through Flip and Fast. And I
hey,
mean, I don't want to put it out there because we're still working on it.
yeah,
But remember, we are around wealth creation for individuals and families. So it's not going to be a loan, a debt type of loan.
yes,
So like I just underscore that. But we're coming with more when the time is
hey,
right, because we want to do everything within our powers to help our community to build wealth. And so we've
absolutely.
actively been thinking about that. But yeah, like I think multiple streams of income equals that portfolio diversification or diversification. Diversification equals a minimization of risk, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about risk, people who say bank and job security, maybe there was a point in time when job security was a thing,
Yeah,
right? But these days it's almost becoming non-existent, right? So
it's just
you have to stop thinking about income security and start replacing that mindset with income diversification. Right?
I like
So
that.
that's the important thing to do. I have to shift and change with the times, right?
Because the economy, as we can see it, it don't love you as much as you thought. So you have to figure out ways to either stay afloat, at least right now, because I know there's people that are having trouble. I want you to
Right.
find a way to stay afloat and then surpass that and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So
100%.
I know it's rough, y'all. I know it's rough, but where there's a will, there's a way. And
There's a
when you
way.
have
And
a
I'll tell you
plan,
what the way
mm,
is. So there's this one poem.
yeah.
Oh my God. Like, I think Desiderata. I think his name is Max Ehrman
Yeah.
or something like that. Desiderata. I think everybody should read that poem.
Okay.
It's so powerful. I feel like I've said it on this podcast before, but yeah, you probably read the poem and say, what does it have to do with wealth creation? It's one of those poems that speak to every facet of your life, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I think, Camille and I can't emphasize this enough. And, Camille said the economy don't love us. It's true, but Cam and I love everyone. And so that's why we give all of these gems. Um, Mindset, mindset is just, it's so powerful. And having a positive and a can-do spirit. I think people sometimes see me as a ball of optimism. And I know sometimes it frustrates certain people because I'll be in a situation. And I was just telling my friends earlier that the
Mm.
one thing I have to give my sister, that my sister can literally see me jump in a pit of fire and everybody on the surface, I know this is a bit extreme, is crying and say, "Oh my God, like what's happening to Andre?" And then my sister will say, "No, no, 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 that's Andre. You'll find a way out." And because I think she not only knows I'm an optimistic person, but she just believes in my natural ability to like overcome things. And I feel like
Absolutely.
that's two sides. But I feel like I would want to implore people to really invest in becoming a more positive thinker and a more optimistic thinker and trying to find the opportunity in every situation. So if you're on the highway in traffic, think about what opportunity can present. I mean, there might not be any, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just a matter of training the mind to see the opportunity, especially in the time of tragedy. I mean, that's probably not the nicest thing to say, but even when we look at COVID, and I remember when I was becoming an earlier advocate of like, this is the perfect time to try to work on yourself and to build things that are important to you. And I quickly got backlash because a lot of people were saying, we're in the middle of a pandemic, or people should be relaxing or whatever. And which is true. I think people are entitled to do what they want. But for me, I started to think about what opportunity is presenting itself during this pandemic, right?
Mm-hmm.
How can I come out stronger, right? And so I use that opportunity. And that was a unique opportunity for us all. It's not the only opportunity. Many more will come that's on that scale.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the form of a pandemic. It could come in the form of a recession or something else. But even still,
Mm.
something as great as recession, what are the other opportunities? There are so many things that are happening around the world. Let's look at an example. I see a lot of countries offering what do you call it now, remote work visa. Perhaps this is an opportunity for somebody to become a remote work visa consultant. You know what I mean? I'm just like saying that, but you have to think about what is changing, why it is changing, and how can I benefit from what is going on. And so that's the time. If you train yourself to think that way, my friend said to me, "Oh, whenever I think, I see a straight line like this. Whenever he thinks, he sees stuff like all over the." But anyways, you have to train your mind so that you think that you can see a straight line and not everything like fuzzy all over the place.
I think that's like
Yeah.
my mind. My mind's like this too. Or it's like, nope, this, or just but I think like it eventually
Hilarious.
turns like straight, right?
Yeah.
But
You
I
get
think,
there.
or like I think about so many things all at once where I get hype and I'm just like, oh, there's so many possibilities that I can do. Like there's just so much endless opportunities in this world.
Yeah. Our minds are they're really powerful,
Mm-hmm.
and like you have to put that leash on it and get the focus. Like, yes, you want to think about everything, and like I'm still there. Like I think about a lot of things and I try to do a lot of things, but one of the things
Yeah.
that I've been working towards is becoming more focused. Like, and I find that I achieve better results when I'm focused. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. It's starting that project and seeing it to its completion and seeing it to
Mm,
its continued success. It's not about
true.
just jumping on many different things and not finishing anything. You know what I mean? Just to say, yo, I'm doing a million things. You want to
Yeah.
jump on one thing, see it to maturity, and continue to
Go to the
evaluate its
next.
continued success. Right. And that's the approach that I've really been taking toward a lot of things.
Nice. Yeah, yeah, I think I need to do a little bit of that too. I mean, I've been focused and I've been shifting my energy to my business to focus more
Yeah.
so I can eventually help more than I've done in a I guess in a year's time. So
Yeah.
all in due time, one day at a time, one day at a time.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, going back to the formula, it's knowledge, creativity. The more creative you can get, and I'm gonna further develop that model because I feel like there's more things to add. So like I wanna add certain enabling, what I call enabling, tools or whatever. I haven't figured out what I'm gonna call it yet, but an enabler would be like other people's money, other people's time. Like how do you leverage those, right? And so leverage, I probably said leverage on this call probably like 20 times already,
So that's
just
gonna
to
be
show you
tagged.
like how much I've gotten. Right, I've gotten so in love with the word leverage, and because I think when I say leverage, like I don't just think about one thing. I think about how can I utilize people, technology, and capability. So if
Right.
I say and resources or whatever the case is, right? So if I say, yo, I want to leverage this debt to my potential, like I'm thinking about
Mm,
okay, the debt, which is the resource, and I want to think about the right people that can help me to make the right decision with it. So it's like a combination of things that I'm thinking about, and and like just going back, and I'm glad I mentioned debt. It's like, like you'll hear some people say they don't believe in using debt to acquire certain things. Um, I'm a believer in that. My belief is that once you've fully gotten the knowledge and you've done your research and you're making a calculated decision, then I don't see why not. I think you
mhm.
can. It's safe to, and this is just my own opinion in my own experience, what I've seen to like use debt to like build your portfolio, right? I mean, of course, there's interest on the debt, but let's say I have a line of credit here of like 30,000, and I can
Yeah.
use that 30,000 line of credit to finance a property, let's say in Barbados, right? I'm paying, let's say, 3% here, but the capital appreciation rate in Barbados is say about 10 to 20% per year. Then, of course, I'm building
Makes
equity at a
sense.
rate that's faster than interest that I'm paying on the debt.
And you know what's a joke? I know for sure we've talked about that before. So I hope
Yeah,
y'all are listening and taking it in. And also you have to know yourself as well.
yeah,
You have to know that you're able to execute that plan because you don't want to
yeah,
leverage the line of credit and and then oh yeah, I'm gonna get this property in Barbados, but then you get the money and then all of a sudden you spend it on something else that you had
dear,
no
yeah,
business getting.
really important. Yeah, that's really important because otherwise you're putting in your that debt into something that's not income generating, and so you're gonna be left with that debt. I think that's the key part, and
Mhm.
personally, that's why most people are afraid of debt because we put debt into things that are not income producing, then we're stuck with that debt and it's hard to pay off. And then we say, oh, I'm not put myself in no more debt.
Listen,
uh,
that's actually
yeah,
that's actually a great thing that you mentioned too. But dang, we could talk about that. Like we could talk for hours about.
I know,
But
I know.
so I guess the key thing is, folks, write down the 7 different income streams and figure out which one is is possible for you at this very moment, and then continue to build. Like I said, I have 2 or 3, and I'm trying to think of how to get 4 or 5. You know, so one's on the come up. Like, oh,
It's
I'm very
coming.
excited. Oh, and when it happens, geez, don't worry, I'll still be the same okay or Cam, but
Yep.
you see different backgrounds
Yeah, and that's an important
afterwards.
point. Yeah, I'm glad that you say you're gonna be the same, Cam, because I feel like when some people start to like earn a little bit more, they start to change. And I'm really big on being humble, right?
Hmm.
I can walk into a space, and even though I can afford whatever I want in that space, I don't need to let everybody know that I can afford whatever
Yeah,
I want. I'm really big on people being humble, and like, so yeah, I'm glad you highlighted that. Um,
trust me. The universe has every time I try to be cocky and stuff, the universe humbles me real quick.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
hum.
Yeah, no, like folks, I like Camille said, it's really important, remain humble. It's really important to build multiple streams of income and like think about passive versus active. And where possible, become an active investment manager, right? Active. And I will tell you this, that I'm not making this thing up, that I literally wrote down AIM many years ago, right?
Yeah.
And AIM is an active investment manager. So aim to become a good manager of your money. I didn't just make that up. I like to play with words. So like I think about all of these things, but yeah,
Yeah.
aim to become a manager of your money.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, can't do it. You have to find a trusted person, somebody who will actively manage your money and somebody will actively have your best interest, right? There has to be a fiduciary duty. If there's no fiduciary duty, and fiduciary duty just simply mean the person has your best interest and there's a legal obligation to do so,
Yeah.
right? But if you can become an active money manager, that would make a big difference, right? Because you'll learn, you'll grow, you'll make mistakes. I've made mistakes. I've made a lot of money mistakes, and we can literally create a podcast series called "Mistakes That We've Made." And you'd probably think I'm a darn idiot for a
Oh,
lot of,
shucks.
but
I'm no comment. No.
because we don't have all the answers, right? Especially when you're trying to grow, you don't have all the answers. Sometimes you're making decisions on complete information. Other times you're making decision with some information. Other times you're making decisions with no information. You know what I mean? So it all varies.
Right? And then sometimes like things just happen.
Yeah, exactly.
I
What do
think
you
I'm
do?
gonna say shit happens and you're like, well damn, I thought it was gonna go a different way.
Yeah, you thought it was
And
gonna
then
go
you
north,
just
go south.
so sometimes you have to and I think it has to do with the mindset as well. We have to, when things happen, rewind, back up, think about it, and say, okay, this didn't go as planned. What can
Yeah,
I do to make things better?
exactly.
How can I make things better? So I think
Absolutely.
on this long weekend, that's one of my things. It's the end of the month, so I usually have my
Oh
budget.
yeah, that's right.
And it's
Yeah.
caravan. Well, I don't
Well,
know what people are doing for
maybe
caravan.
yeah, I don't know what's going on with Caravan and keep them safe. But there's a whole heap of party and stuff going on. But
That's
I
how I
like the
had
fact that it start every problem that I have,
it. Mm-hmm.
not all of them, but most of my problems,
Mm-hmm.
I start with a framing question. Like I love when you frame when you start with a framing question, it is
Yeah.
a great premise for finding solutions. Like if my car broke down now and I'm like, damn, I hate this car, and I just go, you know what, like it's a trash, and I walk away, then I'm not gonna come up with a solution. But if I frame it, I'm like, you know what? My car is broke down. What can I do? What caused this problem? Like why I keep having, so when you start asking these framing questions,
Yeah.
or these what if questions, whatever you want to call them, it's a great way, again, of training your mind to become a problem solver, right? And people will think, okay, that we have all the answers, or you know, nobody has all the answers. It's just a matter of how you train your mind. And you will see that even though you're a problem solver, you think about a potential solution, and it
Mm-hmm.
may not work out, right? It may not go the way that you intend. But the idea is that that's how you want to train your mind. That's how you want to train your thinking, right?
Absolutely.
And so for me, my biggest takeaways from all of this is
Mm-hmm.
build multiple income stream. I think Camille will probably have similar ones to me,
Yeah.
or she probably have different ones, but multiple streams. And just like Camille said, write them down, see what you currently have and how you can get to the other ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Frame questions, frame possibilities and scenarios. Remain humble. Even within income stream, think about, even though income stream is a form of diversification, you want to think about how you can diversify within the diversification. So for what do I mean? So you're not going to earn all your capital gains from just stocks. You can earn it through real estate, right? So find other means of generating capital gains.
Yeah.
And you also want to build access, right? Access is really important. And the other thing that I will underscore that I learned from Mike. I mean, I kind of know it, but like
Mm-hmm.
Michael, you can underscore it as well. Is like to control your emotions whenever you're making decisions from two perspectives. You don't want to make an emotional decision, but also to like the people around you. You want to control your emotion and attitude toward them, how you actually interact with people, right? And so from my perspective, those would be my key takeaways or my key recommendations. Um, think multiple stream, think income diversification. Stop thinking about income security and start thinking about income diversification.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Think. Ba,
Yeah.
ba, ba.
Big up myself, big up myself.
Yeah. I think I want to steal all what you just said. Those are great recommendations. And I'll just piggyback mindset. Some people think it's not possible to have multiple streams of income. Anything is possible. You just got to put your mind to it. So, like we said, write it down, plan accordingly, and start small. You don't have to start big.
Yeah,
You,
yeah,
I did not start big, trust me, but it's been growing. I'm being silly. Sorry.
absolutely.
Start small, plan, have a different mindset. If your mindset is negative and it happens, trust me, I know. Try to find individuals, and I think you said like access. Try to find people that are like-minded or the way that you want to be like-minded and see how they project their life, like how positive it is. Or
Right.
you know what? There's some days you're gonna feel like crap.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Embrace it and then chuck it and then keep going, right? Because tomorrow will be a better day, hopefully,
Absolutely. No,
right? And just, I think the best thing about it is this generation or this time, we have better opportunity to do better than our
yeah,
parents, than our grandparents, because the technology is just crazy,
yeah,
right? And so we're able to like, we can be in Toronto or Ontario and have property in Jamaica, Barbados,
Mhm.
Costa Rica and stuff,
And managing it from your smartphone.
right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if people were able to do that 20 years ago or so. Maybe, but we have a better chance now. Yes, real estate is expensive, but you gotta work with the other multiple streams before you can get to that. That's what I'm doing,
Absolutely. Yeah.
right? It
Yeah.
does. Rome wasn't made in a day.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, like, thanks for sharing that. Like, you touch on some really good stuff, like mindset, starting small. I think people always like, them think of start big. Like, how do I get to, like, everybody does want to wake up and want to be rich tomorrow.
Rich.
And I'm like, no, like, no, brother and sister. Like, not because I come out and talk about this today, mean that, but just get up and it happen. Like, no, I've been working toward this for quite a while. You see me?
Like
So
literally.
yeah, no, that's really important. Yeah. Yeah, no, like I feel like this was a pretty good topic. And
It's amazing.
as we were interacting with each other, I was like learning and enjoying the conversation. And I'm really hoping like people listening enjoy the con, because we're gonna keep talking about these really important topics, and we're gonna share our personal experience as well as experience from other people we're gonna bring on and thing. And there
Right?
was a that came up, and I think it's a really good one. I want to put it out there to see if we can get some reaction to it. But the one about entrepreneurship for an introvert,
Ah,
right?
yes.
So I'll put that out there. Maybe we'll get some reaction. But I think it would be really good to like hear from people who are introverts and either
Mhm.
are entrepreneurs currently or thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, because that's something that we're going to explore.
But that also means that your introvert ass has to come on and show
Yeah,
yourself. I know there's some
absolutely.
introverts that get anxiety and stuff, and they're like, I don't want to be seen. I'm like, figure it out. You got to get outside that box and stuff, right? So yeah, that's a great question. And also, for viewers that are listening or watching, how many streams of income do you have or would you like? I asked that on Instagram. You would have seen it recently. That's why I was in my phone most of the time, but I was listening and paying attention. So that's all that matters. So I think this is a great one to think. We were just going to have it like a quick thing, but just because our conversations are just very refreshing to
Yeah,
me, we
it
just had to
was.
keep going, right? So I
Absolutely. No, it
I
was
hope
a really
everyone,
good discussion. All
right?
right, Pete. Like, so it's long weekend. Big up on yourself. Enjoy the
Don't
long
drink
weekend.
too. Drink responsibly, smoke responsibly, have fun
Absolutely.
responsibly as well. And we still have the song. So also like, subscribe, share everything. We just want more people to get this knowledge to them. All right. On that note, folks. Anyway, you're about fake music.
Hey, listen, brother.